Hey, this is Derek the Bigfoot Hunter from the Dirty Jokes and Magic Tricks show, and I'm here at Derek the Bigfoot Hunter National Headquarters, my secret location. I have a bunker right under this tree, and I'm going to be introducing a brand new segment for the Bigfoot Hunter series, and that is Derek the Bigfoot Hunter Cooks Critters. And that's going to start tonight. So today's Tuesday. It's going to be Taco Tuesday, and we're going to be working with wild beaver meat. Most important thing you got to remember with wild beaver is don't let it anywhere near your groin, because you might have to seek emergency medical attention, like an antibiotic or a series of shots. Anyway, we're going to come back later from my kitchen, and I'm going to be making you some tacos on Tuesday with wild beaver. Derek the Bigfoot Hunter Cooks Critters. Peace. Howdy everybody. Derek the Bigfoot Hunter here from the kitchen at Derek the Bigfoot Hunter National Headquarters. You can see right over there at the top of my head, it says Laugh Alvin. That's one of the things I believe in. You should go see a comedy show sometime soon, Dirty Jokes and Magic Tricks, if you want to check out a really good one. But tonight we're going to be working with wild beaver for our new segment of Derek the Bigfoot Hunter Cooks Critters. And since it is Tuesday, we got to make it Taco Tuesday. So it's going to be wild beaver tacos for dinner tonight. Now, the thing about wild beaver is it has a much gamier taste than the domesticated beaver. And that's because the wild beaver still has hair, and most domesticated beavers have been fully shaved. Okay, step one. Beaver preparation is very important. First of all, I recommend that you inspect your beaver thoroughly for quality before you go sticking your fingers in anything. After you figure out that it's an okay, safe beaver, make sure that you take extra time. Like I've done tonight, I've already done the hard work for you. I've completely shaven this beaver, so it's ready to go. I ran it through my critter grinder, so we've got some pretty nice beaver. But if you're not careful when you're preparing this dish, it can be something where somebody's got their face down in it and all of a sudden they come up spitting a hair, and you don't want that to happen. See you in step two. Next step in a good taco preparation is use some decent ingredients. Now, I know it's tempting to just take the meat and get one of those packets from the store that says taco seasoning on it, but and we'll probably use some of that ourselves tonight, but that's kind of a cheat. It ain't good. Don't do it. Get yourself an onion. Real fucking onion. I'll give you a tip about this here in just a second. So we're going to use a white onion. We're going to use an Anaheim pepper. Anaheim peppers are not as hot as jalapenos, and they have just as much taste. The other thing that we're going to get started with before we add our meat, very important ingredient to everybody who was born south of the Mason-Dixon line or lived there any part of their life, butter, ladies and gentlemen. Salted is what I prefer. If you believe in all the bullshit about salt, then use the unsalted. I don't really care, but we're going to be using some butter. If you're worried about having a heart attack, this dish might do it. So I promised you a tip about the onion. Get yourself a big sharp critter knife like I got here. And then I'm going to cut this onion into sections, and we're not going to have to peel it. Watch this. Magic. Cut number one. Dun dun dun. Cut number two. Now you cut the son of a bitch in half. What we're going to do after that is we're going to grab a hold of it, and we're going to take this layer of onion that runs around the outside there. We're going to just remove all that at once. So when we get done, we can just throw that crap away. And there you go. Now we got plenty of white onion left for our dish, and all that nastiness is gone. How about that for a tip? Okay, now this here is the interior section of the Anaheim pepper, and it's pretty interesting, you know, long and green. And the reason I show you this is because I told you that it was not as spicy as a jalapeno. And if you don't like spice at all, the best recommendation I can give you to completely remove what you're going to have as natural spice is to get on here and remove this interior with these seeds. If you leave the seeds in, it's going to be a spicier dish. If you take the time to clean your pepper, then you're going to have a less spicy dish. I'm going to go ahead and clean my pepper because I got a family full of pussies here. Okay, so as you can see, I got my pepper clean. There's no more of those nasty little seeds in there. I got pretty much all the guts out. Looks good. Got my onion ready for dicing. The one thing I wanted to say about dicing up these vegetables is I don't care what your knife skills are, just don't cut your damn finger off, alright? We ain't Gordon Ramsay here, we're working with wild beaver, for God's sake. Just make sure that you get it. I like a pretty fine dice, but it's as long as you got them where you want them and you can swallow them, that's good enough. Alright, I got a pretty good dice on this pepper, and I just wanted to point out, at this point, what you're going to have is, instead of having something that's going to be a whole lot of spice in your mouth, especially since I put a pretty good dice on it, you're going to have something that tastes sort of like a zingy green bell pepper, which is going to be much better for this dish for a lot of people, especially with the onion that we're going to be about to add in a second. Alrighty, now I got into this onion and I realized it had a particularly strong odor. It's going to be a very powerful onion. The smell actually reminded me a lot of my ex-wife, so I'm only going to use half this onion. I only think I will be happy with half of the onion, just like I was happy with half of the marriage. So you have to make decisions on the fly like that when you're cooking with critters, and that's one of them I just made. So if you're following along and you got a powerful white onion, half, baby, half. Okay, so, wow, that's kind of a shitty focus. Okay, there we go. I use my big risotto pan for this next, and I just put my heat up on high and mix my peppers and get them good and cooking in that butter. We're going to let them do that about 6 or 8 minutes, depending on how hot your shit is. Just keep an eye on it. They're already starting to smell good. You'll be able to smell a change almost immediately. This pan smells like a pizza right now. It surely does. So anyway, about 6 to 8 minutes of doing this, and just work it around in the butter and put a little brown on your onions. This will also reduce the heat of those peppers a little bit more, so we're going to have more of a milder, zingier pepper than using a diced jalapeno. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so now that my veg is starting to brown up good, looks really nice, smells terrific, I'm going to add in our meat. And as you can see, our ground beaver resembles beef in almost every respect. I added about 15% beef fat, so this is pretty lean. It's about an 80-20 mix. So just throw that right on in there. Just pitch that in there. And we're going to cook this up right with our veg. We're going to brown this right with the vegetables and the butter. I'll be back when that's done. Alright, we got ourselves going now, and I can't stress this enough. We want to make sure that we use salt to season. I'll put about a teaspoon in here when I'm done. Salt is not your enemy, folks. It's one of your best friends. Alrighty, now we got to season our meat. And you got a couple different options here. You can use your standard taco seasoning packet if you don't really have a lot of creativity, or if you're messed up somehow, too fucking high to do this. You got basically a chili powder, paprika, oregano, ground red pepper, and onion pepper mix. Chili powder is your base, about a tablespoon. Everything else about a quarter of that. Mix it all together good, and then dump her over here in your already prepared beaver. Alright, now we're going to mix all that stuff up, and we're going to let her simmer a little while longer. I would go 8 to 10 minutes over medium low. So throw a quarter of a cup of water in there and just let it simmer on medium low. Hear that? That's the sound of goodness right there. Next step, beaver tacos. Okay, so here we are at the end. Shell choice is probably pretty important to some folks. I'm not going to dick around and make my own shells because in my personal opinion, Old El Paso has made the perfect shell with the nacho cheese stand-up shell perfection. Couldn't get any better, so I ain't going to try. There it is. I like my tacos with a little bit of onion, a little bit of cheese, a little bit of taco sauce, just like you see here, but the rest of it pretty much up to you. You can accessorize as you like, but ladies and gentlemen, Derek the Bigfoot Hunter cooks critters, and tonight is Taco Tuesdays. It's beaver taco night. Enjoy your beaver.